WEED.TO Podcasts.
Good afternoon and welcome to another InvestorIdeas.com podcast following cannabis news, stocks to watch, as well as insights from thought leaders and experts. Today we'll be looking at updates from Cannabis Growth Corporation trading on the TSX as WEED and the New York Stock Exchange as CGC, Crop Infrastructure Corporation trading on the CSE as CROP, and Canna Royalty Corporation trading on the CSE as CRZ. First, looking at Cannabis Growth Corporation, who announced that its wholly owned subsidiary Spectrum Cannabis has partnered with the Ontario Long-Term Care Association by way of an unrestricted educational grant to pursue the development and implementation of a long-term care medical cannabis pilot study and care pathway for utilization in Ontario long-term care homes. The 6-month pilot aims to measure how medical cannabis use can potentially displace other, less desirable therapeutics for both pain and cognitive functions for residents in a select group of homes. Development and implementation of the pilot will be coordinated by the OLTCA, with Cannabis Growth providing all product from its Spectrum Cannabis brand. Key components of the 4-phase program include the initial recruiting of long-term care homes, identifying physicians to create a care pathway for the use of medical cannabis and LTC, providing educational tools for frontline staff and clinicians delivering care to residents, evaluating quality of life, clinical outcomes, caregiving stress, and the economic and humanistic benefit of cannabis adoption for residents, and ultimately presenting the findings of the study. This will be one of the world's first and largest medical cannabis pilot programs in the long-term care space and will register as many as 500 residents and follow them over the course of care. There is clearly an interest in the long-term care space to explore medical cannabis as an alternative to traditional medications for pain and degenerative cognitive function, commented Mark Zekulin, President and co-CEO of Cannabis Growth. The pilot study we've announced today is the first step in developing an evidence-based best practice approach to medical cannabis that will result in consistent care for thousands of seniors and ultimately improve quality of life and outcomes in long-term care homes. The project will utilize a quality improvement framework similar to that developed for the OMNI Diabetes Protocol, winner of the OLTCA Quality Improvement Innovation of the Year and now adopted as the provincial standard for diabetes care. This same approach has been used to develop care pathways for COPD, influenza, stroke prevention, and spasticity, delivering exceptional outcomes each time while ensuring the approach is truly interdisciplinary. Medical cannabis is currently prescribed for residents as appropriate, but it's still an emerging area, says Candice Chartier, CEO of Ontario Long-Term Care Association. Through this partnership and pilot study, we hope to provide more clarity to long-term care clinicians and frontline staff about the use of medical cannabis for residents. Today's announcements aligned with Cannabis Growth's continued focus through Spectrum Cannabis to provide seniors with access to medical cannabis, as well as education on its potential benefits and applications. Most recently, Spectrum Cannabis was named the preferred education partner and supplier of choice of medical cannabis for Centric Health and the seniors that it serves both in long-term care and retirement residences, as well as seniors living in the community. Moving on now to Crop Infrastructure Corporation, who announced that further to its letter of intent with Naturally Splendid Enterprises, trading on the TSX Venture as NSP, which was previously announced on August 14th, Crop will utilize NSP's proprietary hemp omega trademark powder created for microencapsulated hemp seed oil in its CannaDrink functional beverage line currently being developed. CannaDrink will now be available in all other jurisdictions containing hemp omega trademark where CBD products are not yet approved. Crop's new cannabis-infused line of soft drinks called CannaDrink will be a zero-calorie, non-GMO, ketogenic-friendly line of soda pop, tea, and coffee variations. Hemp Omega trademark is a unique and proprietary homogeneous powder created from microencapsulated hemp seed oil. It is a high-quality and sustainable omega fatty acid alternative ingredient, and due to its unique powder format, solves the formulation challenge manufacturers face when trying to add oil to existing products and has proven to increase the bioavailability of omega fatty acids. The global carbonated soft drink market is projected to reach a $605.6 billion US by 2025, according to the March 2018 report by Grandview Research Incorporated. In addition to its CannaDrink beverage line, Crop is working with Naturally Splendid to develop a Hempire-branded hulled hemp seed and protein powder product line. Crop and Naturally Splendid are currently testing a variety of flavors and formulations created by NSP specifically for the Hempire brand that will be enhanced with NSP's Hemp Omega trademark. Finally, moving on to Canna Royalty Corporation, a leading North American cannabis brands product and company, announced today that it's finalized a definitive agreement with Australis Capital Incorporated, whereby Australis will purchase 2,200,000 common shares in the capital of Wagner Demas Incorporated from Cannaroy Delaware Incorporated, a wholly owned subsidiary of Canna Royalty. The agreement replaces a letter of intent signed with the parties on September 17th of this year. As Canna Royalty continues to grow and build a solid presence in California as a cannabis brands company and a major third-party distributor, our focus has been concentrated on realizing value from assets that are non-core to our business. This agreement cements this stated strategy. The approximately 182% return on investment from the sale of our equity stake in Wagner Demas reinforces our commitment to generate significant returns for our shareholders and fund accretive growth in our key markets in North America, commented Mark Lustig, Chairman and CEO of Canna Royalty. Pursuant to the agreement, Australis has agreed to purchase Cannaroy Delaware's 22% equity interest in Wagner Demas. As consideration for the share purchase, Australis shall pay $3 million, $1.5 million in cash, and $1.5 million by Australis issuing 738,000 units at a deemed price of $2.03 per unit. That's all for today's podcast. Podcast is now a certified word trademark on the blockchain through Cognate Incorporated CM certification. And InvestorIdeas.com podcasts are also available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and TuneIn. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor of this podcast, please contact InvestorIdeas.com. Investor Ideas reminds all listeners to read our disclaimers and disclosures on the InvestorIdeas.com website, and this podcast is not an endorsement to buy products or services or securities. Investors are reminded that all investments involve risk and possible loss of investment.